Shalom, everybody. Do you consider yourself to be a child of Abraham? I'll bet you do. Most of the world does. Jews do. Christians do. Muslims do. And I'll bet you do too. But what does it mean? What does it mean to manifest Abraham's spiritual DNA? What does it mean to really resemble him and for his faith to be evident in our lives? That's a very good question. Let's look at that briefly tonight, okay? Here is the call of Abram from Bereshit, Genesis chapter 12. Familiar passage. Now Adonai said to Avram, "Get yourself out of your country, away from your kinsmen and away from your father's house, and go to the land that I will show you. I will make of you a great nation. I will bless you and I will make your name great, and you are to be a blessing. I will bless those who bless you, but I will curse anyone who curses you. And by you, all the families of the earth will be blessed." Quite a passage. Let's look at a few characteristics from that passage of what it means to manifest the DNA, the spiritual DNA of Abraham, our father. First of all, there's an elevating call. There will come times in your life when you sense yourself being called higher, called to a higher purpose, to higher values, to a higher engagement than you currently know. That's what happened with Abram. He had a call from God. We don't know that he heard a voice. You don't have to hear a voice. But you do get this invitation to come up higher. That's the first aspect of manifesting Avram's DNA. Secondly, you will receive the challenge for a change in context. It might be an expansion of context, it might be a shifting of contexts, but there will be a change. God will call you out of your comfort zone. I'm laughing because that's been my experience too. He always does. That's the way he works. He'll call you out of your comfort zone. And if you're not a candidate, if you're not available to be called out of your comfort zone, you're not really available to follow God. That's the way God works. Well, let's look at a third one here. He will call you to embrace the unknown. God says to Avraham, known as Avram at that time, "Get out of your country, leave your father's house, go to the land that I will show you." But he doesn't tell Avram where the land is or what it is. And I can say from my own life that the times that I have followed God, that I have manifested by the grace of God, Abram's DNA, I had to embrace the unknown. I knew God was calling me, but I didn't know the details about everything that was going to happen. One time I had a conversation with a woman of prayer. I knew that God was calling me to something. And she said to me, "Stuart, God has given you two choices. You can either go to this new context or you can stay in your old context. You seem to want God to make the choice so unambiguous that there's no risk involved." She said, "He's not going to do that." She was right. It was time for me to leave my old context and to step into the unknown. In fact, one time in my life, I spent a year with a shrink because I was terrified of certain changes that were taking place. And she said to me, "Stuart, you don't believe that God will be there for you in the unknown situation." And she was right. But if you're going to demonstrate Abram's DNA, you need to trust that God is there in the unknown situation. So that's the third aspect of Abram's DNA. Fourth, fruitfulness. Get out of your country, leave your father's house, go to the land I'll show you, and I'll make of you a great nation. God later tells him, "Your seed will be like the sand on the seashore and the stars of the heavens for multitude." God calls us to greater fruitfulness. I've experienced that in my life. God's servants always do. You may not get rich, but your life will become richer and you'll become fruitful. That is what happens when you demonstrate Abram's DNA. There's also expansion. I'll make of you a great nation, and in you shall all the families of the earth be blessed. Whoa, doesn't get any bigger than that. You'll be a person of expanded influence. You may not become world famous, but I can guarantee you that your influence will spread if you're following God. It's not that he wants to make you famous. He's not going to make you rich. But if you're his servant, there's nothing better than that. Finally, this is a protective partnership. I will bless those who bless you, and those who curse you I will curse. God will look out for you. He's been looking out for Abram's children for 3,500 years. The Jewish people have been through a history of depredation and of persecution that is impossible to overstate. And yet, God has looked out for us. So if you follow God, he'll back up your act. He'll look out for you. There's our 6 characteristics right now of the Abram factor: an elevating call, a changing context, an embracing of the unknown, fruitfulness, expanded influence and effectiveness, and a protective partnership. I invite you to be truly a child of Abraham, not just genetically, but spiritually. This weekend, our weekly study guide that we distribute to people at their homes will talk about Abram, because this is the weekend that we read about Abraham in the Torah passages. We'll be talking all about Abraham in our study guide, which is called Shulchan Shalanu. And if you want to know more about it, maybe get a free copy and all that kind of jazz, let me find it for you. Shulchan Shalanu, you can get that by going to visit interfaithfulness.org/the-well. interfaithfulness.org/the-well, the-well. And there you'll find out about Shulchan Shalanu, our Shabbat home study guide. It's a discussion guide. And you can even get a free copy. But more important than that is be a child of Abraham. Not just genetically, not just because you have faith, but because in your faith you follow Abraham's God. May he be with you. I know he will. That's what we believe here at Interfaithfulness, where we're building bridges, where history builds walls. Shalom for now.